Right, sir.
But don't worry, I'll finish within half an hour.
Yeah, sure.
Don't take your time.
No, we are not worried about that at all, sir.
Ravindraji, you may take all your time because we have I think all the time to us. So half an hour is not the the limit. We may continue up to 45 minutes. So depends.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue.
In the month of, I think, April, I visited your institute in the Alwa, AAIET, something like that, no?
AAETI.
AETA. And I was invited on one lecture on the waste management. I think Dr. Singhal, Sumita Singhal or something.
Sumita Narayan. No, Sumita Singhal. Sumita Singhal is the program manager in the water team. Yes.
Right. And Dr. Sunita Narayan, I met her there only, and I saw your labs and the facility instrumentations. Just like, it's a parallel to IRI, and really beautiful, infrastructure. So there I was fascinated, and I was given only 10 minutes to speak. But later, the audience said, no, let you please continue. So generally, the audience get bored. There is a limit of hearing. So that's the important point. So we have to take care of that also. Their interest should remain in your lecture. We have to have a feeling like that.
All right. So it's 2 minutes past 11 o'clock. So should we start?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me share the.
Sir, we will bring you in when we'll introduce you, and then we'll bring you in, and then you can start sharing your screen. So right now we'll just do a small presentation. So we'll invite you when basically you are required to present.
Let me just check whether I will be able.
Okay. Yeah, check it. Sure.
Just a minute, huh?
So there's a share screen at the bottom of your share button at the bottom of your screen, sir. It is fluorescent green. Yes.
And should I make it in a?
You can go for a full screen
slideshow.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it is absolutely perfect. Yeah.
So let it be here only. You can continue.
Sir, you need to stop your screen sharing, because before your presentation, there is a very small presentation to be made by Rahul and Kaifi.
Oh yes, sir. Now I recall that. Yeah. Let me just unshare it. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. We are joined by almost 90 participants. So let us now start. We are already 4 minutes past 11. We'll try not to overshot the time. So hello and welcome everyone in today's webinar to discuss decoding fermented organic manure. On behalf of Center for Science and Environment, I am Atim Biswas. I head the program that deals with solid waste management and circular economy. And today we are joined by a wonderful pool of panelists. I'm joined by 3 of my colleagues from CSE, Mr. Jay Shiv. He is the director of the Renewable Energy Program. I have Dr. Rahul Jain as my colleague from the Renewable Energy Program, and I have Mr. Kaifi Javed, one of my colleagues in the Solid Waste Management and Circular Economy Program. And we have Dr. Navindu Gupta from ICAR, and we have Vikas Mishra, one of leading industry representatives. So we'll introduce the speakers with their full profile when we invite them to speak. But before we start the discussion, let me just try and give it a context. So as we all know, when the Swachh Bharat Mission kicked in 2014, almost in the mid of Swachh Bharat Mission phase 1, around 2016, 2017, we started shifting the focus from composting to biomethanation. And it was further propelled by some central government scheme like Govardhan and all. And then in the year 2023, this year on 1st February, Indian government announced a budget of about 35,000 crores to accelerate the transition towards clean energy and promote energy security. And out of this amount, about 10,000 crore was earmarked to propel the Govardhan scheme, or to say to propel the bioenergy sector. And then there's a different side of learning. Like if we look back and see how we have managed our biomass in the past, it was mostly composting. Now, the downside of this story is that for several reasons, composting has not been greatly successful across the country. There has been an interministerial committee set up by the Honorable Prime Minister's office back in September last year, where the committee was tasked to institute circular economy and find avenues how to create product of biomass which can be easily marketed. And we started learning that probably biomethanation is a better alternative to composting to manage our biomass. So we will contemplate many questions, because in the process of biomethanation, we are getting this fermented organic manure as a byproduct. We know it for a fact that it is rich in plant nutrient. It can be a potential alternative to chemical fertilizers, but to what extent? So there are many questions. Is it as good as chemical fertilizer? Can it be marketed? Will the farmers buy it? So we need to know a lot more about the fermented organic manure in today's discussion. And thanks to all the wonderful panelists for being part of today's discussion. Just for a housekeeping announcement, this event is divided into 3 parts. We'll begin with a very short presentation by Dr. Rahul Jain and Kaifi Javed. Following that, my colleague, Mr. Jaishiv, will just make a very short opening remark and introduce our first speaker, Dr. Navindu Gupta. And after we hear from Dr. Gupta, we will shift to Vikas Mishra ji. And then once all the presentations are done, we request all the participants to post your question in the Q&A box or the chat box. And we'll try to spend as much as time to take questions from the participants and direct them to the panelists so that we can have a very dynamic discussions. So that's it for a context setting. So without wasting any further time, may I request Rahul and Kaifi to please go ahead and make the presentation.
Yeah, so thank you, Atan, for the introduction and setting a context. So I'll just share my screen. Kaifi, is it visible?
Yes, it is, Rahul.
All right. So yeah, so as Atin said, the topic for today's discussion is fermented organic manure. But before jumping in, it is very important to understand the CBG journey in India and the basics of compressed biogas, how it is produced, and what are the products that we derive out of this process. So coming straight to the topic, CBG is produced through anaerobic digestion process, and in turn it utilizes organic waste. And this organic waste can be municipal solid waste, can be agri residue, can be press mud, that's the waste from sugarcane industry, energy crops like Napier grass, and other organic waste, like the sewage sludge from the municipal solid waste, municipal sewage treatment plants. So this waste undergoes anaerobic digestion process, which means a digestion process in the absence of oxygen, which primarily produces 2 products. The first is the biogas, and the second is the biodigestate. So the biogas has not been worked on, and it is used for multiple applications. It can be used for heating purpose to run the boilers. It can be converted into electricity using the CHP units. It can be upgraded into biomethane to be used in the transportation, as a transportation fuel, and can be even injected into the gas grids. But if you come to the second important product, which is biodigestate, we have not evolved ourselves or not done good research on it. But if you look, it is a very important bioproduct that's coming out, and it can go back into the soil and nourish that soil. So we'll talk more into it. Our speakers will talk more into it. Coming to the CBG journey in Indian context, so it started in 2013. If I talk about the upgraded version of biogas, the biogas has been uh, in India since long. But if you talk about the upgraded version or the modern bioenergy, the first standards for biogas were introduced in 2013. And then in 2014, Swachh Bharat mission was launched. And eventually, the major breakthrough came in 2018 when the national biofuel policy came into picture. Also, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas announced the Satat scheme and the Govardhan scheme by Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Both these schemes were a major, a push for the compressed biogas sector. And coming forward, it was introduced. The CBG came under the umbrella of priority sector lending by the RBI for easy financing. However, it is not the case as of now, though it is in the priority sector lending, but the finance is one big issue. Then eventually in 2020 only, the FCO, fertilizer control order for solid digestate, or the FOM, came into picture, and it were followed by the liquid FOM standards in 2021. So more recently in 2023, as Atin told, the government of India has allocated 10,000 crores to set up 500 new compressed biogas plants throughout India, and under the Govardhan scheme. And they also have released this design, construction, installation, and operation of biogas plant code of practice by the Bureau of Indian Standards. So it also lists the standards of the solid and the liquid FOM, and these have recently been revised. The moisture content and the CN ratio have been relaxed a bit. So this Dr. Gupta will talk about in his presentation. Coming to the India's installed capacity, as of now, we have 46 plants running on ground, and close to 4,000 potential investors have been issued letter of intent to set up their plants. And on the right-hand side, you could see the number of plants in each state. And it is clear from this graph that Gujarat has the maximum number of plants, that is 13. And as of now, about 16,000 tons of CBG has been sold. But there is no data for the FOM generation. So it is very important to come in, pitch in for FOM and research on this aspect so that these plants become sustainable, long-term, and financially independent. So we recently did a report on compressed biogas sector in India, where we talked about different aspects ranging from the technology, policy, operation, economics, and we also projected some case studies. So based on this report and personally my visit to some of the plants, I encountered 5 major challenges that are hampering the growth of the CBG industry in India. So the first one is the uncertainty of the long-term regular supply of feedstock. It is one of the big issue. Second is the source segregation. If we come to the municipal solid waste based plants, we have one big plant in Indore, one plant in Goa that are operating successfully. But if we look at other cities, source segregation is a big problem, because if inorganic waste or the plastic product goes into the digester, it will ultimately lead to the inefficient microbial activity and ultimately choking off the reactor. Third is lack of sustainable financing for the CBG projects. Though 4,000 potential investors have been issued letter of intent, but actually the projects which are into the construction phase are very low. So I think there is a strong need of sustainable financing for these CBG projects. Fourth one is lack of access to infrastructure. Yesterday, I was at one of the largest plant in India and Asia. It's built in Sangrur, which falls in Punjab, and it's built by a company called Verbio. That's a German company, and it has the capacity to produce 33 tons per day of bio CNG, but currently it is producing 8 tons per day. It is because of the two major factors. First is it does not have the market nearby to sell that CBG. So it requires a CGD network where it can, supply that gas that is produced. And second is the FOM. They don't have the market for FOM and it's a disposal problem for them as of now. And the fifth major challenge that is the poor marketability and the low awareness about the CBG generated FOM. So I think I've recently went to some of the plants in UP, Punjab, and like other parts of India. Mostly all of them suffer from this problem, and this is of utmost priority to them, that how they can handle this FOM, what are some enrichment mechanisms, or what is the best way they can handle this FOM. So it's a disposal problem for them. So I'll from here onwards I'll pass on the stage to my colleague Kefi. So he'll explain more about the potential from different aspects, different feedstocks, and various aspects of this FOM. Over to you, Kefi.
Thank you, Rahul, for giving a good insights about the FOM and also highlighting the challenges, which is actually in terms of offtake of bio-CNG, which is like FOM. So before that, I think we should also we should know about that what is the potential of FOM production from our available biomass. So when we look into the total biomass availability for the CBG production, so we have something around 472 million metric ton of available biomass from a different sector, and that is mostly contributed by the cattle dung and the dairy product, and followed by the agricultural residue. So and that has a potential to generate something around 62 million metric ton of the bio-CNG. And out of this can also be converted since once the CBG will production will be done, so it can also come out with the 370 million metric ton of biodigestate as well, which is a resourceful material for our agriculture purposes and as well as for horticulture purposes as well. So when we look into the current plant operation, so we have something 56 operating CBG plant in operation, and we can just see that we have less than 1% of the total realization. We have realized the total potential, but in terms of FOM, we don't have a data, because we as a current CBG plant, we are more focused on the CBG generation. But once the CBG generation has started, now we are because we look into the solution when the problems come. So now once the CBG generation has started, so now we are looking after to solve the FOM issue. So but there is no data that how much in the current operation plant, how much we are actually generating the FOM and how much we are realizing the potential. So Rahul, please next. Rahul, next, please.
I think there is some problem.
Okay, no problem. Just stop the sharing. I will just sharing from myself.
One second.
So now when we just talk about the potential, but we just also look into what quantity from FOM actually come out from the CBG, and what is the form and what is the current policy. So when we look into the current scenario, so it's generally when we call about the CBG plant, so it's take about it's come out 20% of the total whatever the feedstock we input in the digester. But again, it's also depend upon the depend upon the feedstock and also the type of the digestion we are carrying out in the digester. And so it's come out in the form of bioslurry, which is a mix of a solid and liquid content, which is further get separated by the solid and liquid separator. And both has a different value, with different nutrient, and that can be either utilized or that can be applied directly to the application, or else it is also been recommended to get it enriched and get it upgraded so that the maximum nutrient content you can actually accommodate in the particular fermented organic manure. So just to after looking into the issues, so government has actually decided to come up with a policy to support their promotion by giving 1,500 per ton of market development assistance to the fertilizer unit, so that it can be further utilized in a manner. So in a current scenario, when we look into the when we are looking into the challenge of the FOM, so there is a we don't have a we don't know the every feedstock has a different it's a unique quantity or come with the different nutrients. So the digesters also the various composition of digesters also vary accordingly. So this is the one problem, and also we are not well aware about how that can be actually compensate the chemical fertilizer uses, and how that can be synergized between the chemical fertilizer and the organic manure. And also we don't have a because across the globe there are different kind of enrichment mechanism is being actually adopted by the different CPG production unit. But for our context, we don't have a clarity among us that how that can be enriched and what could be the mechanism, so that it could be utilized in a way. So once it will be worked out, so I think this will be resolved. So so in part of application, so this is also being compared by the FOM and chemical fertilizer. But yes, that cannot be replaced by the chemical fertilizer directly, but yes, FOM also come with their own set of benefit. So majorly when we look into some parameter, so I think 2-3 parameter which is actually pushing behind the FOM utilization if we compare with the chemical fertilizer. So some is like nutrient content. So when the FOM come with the high in carbon, but and very less in the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which we call as NPK. So for that, I think the enrichment, if it could be possible to enrich with the certain nutrient, that can also be possible. And also, what is pushing behind is volume and the transportation, because for the same nutrient in the chemical fertilizer can accommodate in a very less amount. But for the same for the nutrient, we have to transport large amount of FOM, which again come with the high transportation cost and all. So these are some kind of some key parameter which is actually pushing behind the FOM use. So and in this session, I think the Nivendu sir and the Vikas Misra will definitely talk about this, and we will get the clarity over that how that can be. This resource material can be utilized in a better way. So I would like to Jay, and I think please proceed this discussion move forward so that we can have a full.
Hope you all can hear me. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jay, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much for giving this overview of FOM and the entire value chain of FOM, starting with CPG and the historical perspective of everything. And it is really interesting to see the renewed thrust on FOM. I would say renewed. Why? Because the FOM has been in practice for quite some time. Historically, but somewhere it got lost, and now we are again pursuing this particular resource for our agriculture, improvements in our agriculture practices. However, all said and done about FOM and everything, there's certain things that need to be relooked and looked and understood, in a bit more detail. Because just now, as Kafi mentioned, there is no compatibility or comparison between chemical fertilizer, and there is a school of thought, and the industry also resonates this kind of thought that there is no comparison between FOM and the chemical fertilizers, because of certain parameters. However, limitations all acknowledged and realized, but I would like to throw open some questions to ponder over here, and we have our eminent speakers, those who will be, throwing light and discussing more about these issues. But just from the sake, for the sake of, throwing open certain things and questions. The first one being the, enriching part, as Rafi mentioned about the heavy cost of transportation and heavy volume of transportation to get the same amount of nutrient that the chemical fertilizers can deliver. And also, is there a possibility of producing concentrated FOM, getting rid of the solids which is not required or does not have any nutrient value in order to make it comparable with chemical fertilizer, as well as cost effective per unit of nutrient available or delivered. So this is one area I think we need to look going forward. And also, there was a news, rather, the standards of FOM being deferred for 3 years, for the manufacturers, so they don't have to comply. So all these things, linked to the marketability of this FOM, because that is where the scale will come from. Otherwise, individual plants producing FOM, selling it to the nearby customers, it is not going to help much in terms of its large-scale offtake and penetration. So from that perspective, what is going to be the implication for deferring the FOM standards for another 3 years? And so this also we need to look at. Just a thought is, can there be amalgamation of two kinds of these fertilizers, chemical and FOM, to produce a hybrid fertilizer? It's a very high level question, and I think it should be best left to the researchers like Navindu sir, those who can look at it, and examine the case here. And another important part is, as for now, the application of FOM is limited to only land preparation stage. Is there a possibility that the FOM can evolve or can be developed further, enriched further, upgraded further in order to be, applicable during various stages of the crop? Because if we are looking at replacing even a fraction of the chemical fertilizer, and FOM being more soil friendly, then we have to look at this aspect as well, as to how and what FOM, what feedstock based FOM can be suitably applied during various stages of the crop. Because it is just now limited to the land preparation stage. Last but not the least is the recently announced the market assistance from the Ministry of 1,500 rupees per ton of FOM produced. So what does it entail? There is no detail available, and there are some open questions around that. How one can avail this benefit? Is there any institutional arrangement in place? So we have to look at institutional, procedural, because in order to avail any government benefit, things have to be verified. What is the quantity of FOM that has been produced, whether it is going to the farmer, whether it is enriched, does it comply to FCO, does it comply to the standards or not? So we have to really look at the institutional as well as procedural kind of things or arrangements in order to make this assistance, financial assistance, MDA, to be available to the producers, so that the FOM can become not a byproduct, but another main product of the entire CBG generation process. So these are some initial thoughts, and we'd really like to hear more on these things from our eminent panelists. And with this, I would like to introduce our two eminent speakers. Dr. Navindu Gupta, he is the principal scientist at ICAR, and he has worked in research and has been teaching for about a decade. He has also worked as research fellow in Shriram Institute for Industrial Research, and synthesized new polymer molecules and then joined nuclear research laboratory and worked on the applications of radioactive isotopes in agriculture sciences. Currently, Dr. Gupta is working as a principal scientist and a postgraduate teaching faculty in the discipline of environmental sciences, IARI. And he is an expert member of the Interministerial Task Force on Govardhan and Circular Economy. He has more than 75 research papers and 4 books. His work on solid waste management was greatly appreciated by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Dr. Navindra Gupta, we're really glad to have you, on this panel. And we have another speaker, Mr. Vikas Mishra, and he's the director and co-founder of Biofix Private Limited. Mr. Vikas earned his bachelor in chemical engineering from SCET University, Surat. And he was also awarded with the nominations of Vice Presidential Award for working on sustainable projects. And as co-founder in Biofix Private Limited, Vikas Mishra brings his industrial experience and knowledge for development of technology and renewable energies and sustainable agriculture. Biofix has been awarded numerous times for their contribution in bioenergy sector and R&D for sustainable products and biotechnology and sustainable agriculture. So with this, we welcome both the speakers, and I would like to request Mr. Navindra Gupta, Dr. Navindra Gupta, to please go ahead with this presentation and talk. Sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shivji. Can I just share my screen?
Yes, please, sir. Go ahead, please.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Can you just make it a full screen slide? So yes, please go ahead.
All right. My most lovable Atinji, Shivji, Rahulji, and Javedji from the CSE side, and maybe the other, I'm not able to see them here. And my very young co-panelist, Vikasji, and lovable 127 participants. I really I'm fortunate to have such a large gathering. I think this is my first webinar wherein I have 127 participants. Though we have a faculty member in IARI, so webinar since Corona, we have been at this, but to the maximum of 60, 65. So it's a good effort by CSE to gather all these, and it shows that there is a catching interest on the subject. Now, without taking much time, because the organizer said stick to 30 minutes only, and I have so many things to speak, therefore I will restrict myself to 30. The topic is catching up in the present scenario. Its importance is unchallengeable, and it's a really time demand. And the presentation by Dr. Rahul Jain, Javedji, and Shivji has covered almost everything. But only thing is, I will just elaborate. So in English, we have one essay and then the précis. So précis is already out. So I'll be taking up the essay now. So my first slide, I'm showing that the Honorable Prime Minister in his Independence Day speech in 2022 has emphasized Parampragat Krishi Vikas scheme. So conventional, we want to go to natural and organic farming, or slowly phase out. But it's really challengeable since we are 140 crores and the land has been squeezed, cultivable land particularly is squeezed. So we, as Shivji has said, that we can't substitute chemical fertilizer right now. But he has also suggested one, hybrid model that wherein we can take FOM and chemical fertilizer. This is what we are also propagating at ICR, that we cannot substitute, chemical fertilizer by FOM right now. Maybe in, 20 years from now, when the FOM, for the simple reason that the nutrient content or agriculturally important nutrient content in FOM is very, very low. So our Honorable Prime Minister has also emphasized on the natural farming, and he said that the natural farming is a path of self-reliance. Why he said so? Because the chemical fertilizer, urea, pressure on DAP, MOP and SSP, all are, involved the foreign exchange in this, and one day or the other it will be, exhausted. So Govardhan scheme is Govardhan and SETET schemes have been, announced by the different ministries for moving towards the use of FOM in agriculture or green energy. Now, in this scheme, the 200 CBG plants, including the 75 plants based on the MSW in the urban areas and the other 300 plants, the government has kept the provision of 10,000 crores. Let me just give you an overview of the agriculture scenario in country. Our total agriculture land is about 159.7 million hectares, out of which the 50% is irrigated, that is 82.6 million hectares. And organic agriculture is not a new concept. Our traditional concept was organic, and 187 countries are now practicing. And the demand for the organic produce is also increasing, though it costs almost 4 times of the same variety which is produced from the chemical fertilizers. So 72.3 million hectares of agricultural land, which is managed by 3.1 million farmers. So we have to, further increase this sphere. The organic farmland is also increased by, from last 5 years or 6 years by 1.1 million hectares. And in India, even the MP, Rajasthan and Maharashtra, that accounts for their half of the area they are managing with the organic cultivations. And the almost all crops, major cereal crops like wheat, barley, maize, rice are cultivated on the organic farming. And as per the 2021, the agriculture contributes 20.2 of our GDP. So that's a remarkable, contribution. And 70% of our population depends on agriculture in one way or the other. So agriculture sector cannot be ignored. Now, the benefits of organic farming, these are the pictures of IARI where we have used our FOM in rice cultivation in the developing this. So, Shivji, let me just tell you that there are 2 types of crops. One is aerobic, another is these water submerged crops. In aerobic, as you said that the 6 to 7 days before, we have to apply the FOM for the land preparation. So that's right. FOM is applied at least, 1 week's time so that it should be homogeneously mixed and start releasing the nutrient, because it also contains less content of the nutrient. So that's for the aerobic. For anaerobic, even in the standing crop, we can put FOM through the irrigations. And the days are not very far, like, we have a drip irrigation, right? The plant gets the water because of the water scarcity problem. So maybe the bioslurry is also injected in the plant during the, cropping period. So the major benefits of organic farming is that it increases the microflora and thereby the microbial activity right in the root zone. So that, and that is primarily because of the high organic content in it. Now, the FOM itself contains the microbes, which are very useful. So we have to look into the, compatibility of the soil microorganisms and the FOM organisms, so that they must, complement to each other during the cropping period. So it also affects our soil health in the sense the water holding capacity will increase, as well as the soil microbial activity, just I said. And moreover, the porosity, which is very, very important factor. So aeration, because the plant exodus needs, proper aeration. So the soil health is very important. soil texture and soil other things are, very slowly change, or whether we can say it's a fixed, almost a fixed. So for sustainable agriculture, pollution-free agriculture, and due importance is given to the animal when we take the FOM into consideration. It's safe water, agriculture residue. Why it's safe water? Because there is a mulching and the coverage is there, and it will not allow, to rise in this. Now, in this slide, I just want to show you that the green energy, which is the growth paradigm of any country, and we have to look into the alternate fuel or alternate for the purpose of energy security. And our commitment by 2030 is that we should switch to 50% through renewables. And naturally, it then promotes renewables and indigenous biofuels. So the FOM and CBG are the best, efforts of a country. Now, this is an important slide which I want to show you, that the energy content of biogas and its comparison with the other kinds of fuels. Now, if you look at to this, when the biogas, which is generally contains 60% of the methane, and if you take 1 normal metric cube of biogas, its value is 6.02 kilowatt hour. And once it is enriched, that is what we call compressed biogas, ready for marketing, it shows 9.67, which is comparable with the diesel, and which is even more than the 1 liter of petrol. So that's the 9.67 kilowatt hour. So that's the importance of, our CBG. And but of course, we are, little lacking behind the CNG. Why? Because in the CBG, we can go up to, maximum 97% by all types of technologies, latest technologies available with us. Now, this is the scenario of the municipal solid waste, because I just tell you that there are 2 organic sources. One is the urban, other is the rural. And rural, I mean to say the biomass or the rural waste, the animal husbandry waste, and the other is the municipal solid waste and civil sludge. Now, this is the scenario of a Balsava landfill site right at Delhi, when the municipal trucks comes with the garbage, and how the rat pickers are working there. They pick up the materials of their choice, like plastic material, glass, broken glass pieces, cardboard, etc., and which are recycled. Now, the interesting point to show here is that when I visited there, they were cooking their food right on this landfill sites. What they do is, there is a barrel, truck ke jo barrel hote hain, they take that barrel, put into the garbage, and around this, the brakes, and then they cook food. How? Because methane is formed inside the 2-3 feet inside the garbage. And then that methane comes out, and they fire it and use for cooking. And all 800, 900 rack pickers cook their food at the landfill sites. So that's the catching point of our landfill site. Whether it is a positive side or negative, that we have to really discuss about. And in the last picture, you might be seeing that there is a fire. And this picture I took from the Indore CBG plant, which has shown that the fire is taking fire and some gases are evolving in this. Now, this is the common scenario during the rice field, when the rice straw is left, and farmers need the clean field for sowing the wheat, because there is a small period, just a 1 month period is between the rice and the wheat. So they need the clean field. And what they are doing is, they really don't know, because they are, wasting the nutrient, which has to be recycled back to the land. So that's the importance of this. And secondly, it also, polluted the area, the air pollutant causing air pollution. And you might have witnessed, during October, November, December, Delhi has a very high AQI. And this is all because of the Haryana, UP, Western UP, and Punjab area where they are. So they are not only, losing the nutrient, but also causing the air pollutant and the health aspects related to it. Now, same. Now, one of the papers which I have got in the current science that after burning, we get what methane, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, NOx and SOx, and unburnt, hydrocarbons and particulate matter PM10, PM2.5, both are there in the atmospheric emissions. Now, one of the calculations showed that 1 ton of straw, when it burns, it releases about 3 kg of particulate matter and 60 kg of carbon monoxide and 60 kg of carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide is more dangerous than the carbon dioxide. And these all are greenhouse gases and which may, cause the global warming and other effects. And we are also losing the carbon credits if we burn. So 199 kg of ash and 2 kg of sulfur dioxide, and there is no estimate of the NOx, which is another gas very harmful. So we have a very high adverse effect on our health. Now, I have just summarized that what are the biomass available to us, and these are the all biomass, whether it is from the agriculture or after the post-harvest from the agro-based industries. And the broad composition of the biomass is that it contains about 40 to 50% of carbon, which is very important to tap. And the two parameters, cellulose and hemicellulose, which are very important for microbial activity and during the anaerobic digestion of the biomass, these two parameters helps to grow the microbial consortium in it. Because we have the 4 different stages of the biogas production. One is the hydrolytic stage, second is the acidolytic stage, third is acetolytic stage, and last is methanogenesis stage. So in all these 4 stages, we have a different, microbial consortium, and the cellulose, hemicellulose components, helps in their multiplication. And otherwise, there is a kinetics limitation of the methane formation, and the plant will stop working in this. Now, this is, I'm just trying to show you that if we talk of biomass, we have about 11.4 billion tons, in which I'm told that there are, 228 million metric ton. This is billion I'm talking. So billion metric ton is surplus. And we are presently only managing the 2% of it. So if we can tap, the whole for CBG and FOM, then you can imagine that the whole country will be organic in no day. So, but there are limitations and there are infrastructures limitation and political will behind all this. And even the farmers need to survive for immediate, the high quantity of the production. And as Dr. Rahul said, that there is a 16,000 tons of CBG which has already been sold. And so we can, imagine that how much we are saving our CNG and the non-renewable sources of petroleum produce. Now, this is a very important aspect from the scientific point of view. The typical stoichiometric formula of biomass is that carbon 1 part, hydrogen is 1.4 times, and oxygen is 0.6. Now, this determines, the various parameters for different types of biomass, because we cannot use all types of biomass for CBG productions. So only those which contains high content of cellulose and hemicellulose. So lignin has to be removed before this, and it also determines the content, one of the characteristics of the biomass. So this. Now, this slide I'm showing that there are. It's not that only we have only the anaerobic fermentation or composting is the only options. We have a combustion, fire gases. We can produce producer gas. We can have alkanes, polyaromatic hydrocarbon and esters, and both all these are related to our energy aspects. So biomass, why I'm showing this, that instead of burning the biomass, we have many other options to use. It's not only the CBG or FOM only. Now, in this slide, I'm just showing you for your interest, it's too technical to understand, the microbial population in cow dung. Now we have about 60 bacterial species of this nature, It's so complex. It's such an important product. There is no product in the world which is as rich as the cow dung is. It contains fungal species, the Aspergillium and Trichoderma. Now we are talking about the biofertilizer that can be isolated from this. 100 species of protozoa. Many of them has not been, characterized so far. Yeast, we have gram-positive bacteria. So cow dung has a wide range of number of microorganisms which are used. And in our laboratory, one of my the best, the young professional, Dr. Anvesha, has cultured this and multiply this, I trying to isolate the microbial growth and microbial consortium. So this is the another slides of our experiments. Now, as this has been already spoken, that we have the 62 million metric ton of the CBG potential is there, and we have a FOM production of 370 metric ton or million metric ton. So that's the important. Now, this is another, technical facts which I want to bring to my audience, that 1 kg of fresh cattle dung produces or having an ability to produce 36 liter or 1.3 cubic feet in the winter and 93 liter or 3.3 cubic meter of biogas. So the only 1 kg of fresh cattle dung can give us so much biogas. And this biogas contains 60% of the methane. In our IRI, we have a kitchen in an integrated farming system where all the labor cook their tea or lunch and snacks on the this biogas. We have provided the biogas from our 2 cubic meter biogas plant. So, and the calorific value of this is 5 kilocalorie, and which is not a less than your LPG or something. Now, heat equivalent is also, we have calculated that the 100 cubic feet of the biogas is equivalent to 1.7 liter of diesel oil, 1.06 kg of LPG, and 1.5 liter of kerosene oil. So that's this slide. I want to show that the biogas should not be ignored. This area needs to be explored, not only from the rural point of view, from the urban as well, for green energy, if we really want a green energy to come up further. Now, the second product, now the anaerobic fermentation has 2 products. One is biogas, another is the bioslurry, and the second product is also there. And there is no industry in the world which is using all its products, all the products generated from their plant. But CBG industry is this. But unfortunately, the second product, bioslurry, has not been propagated or not been accepted as it is. And I'll show you the farmer's perception as well. Now, this is the biomass, mustard biomass. I visited one plant in Kalpatru. This mustard biogas plant is generated the electricity. And now from here, I show you that why bioslurry is not been popularized, because of the simple reason that its nutrient content is very less. If we enrich this bioslurry, then the farmers will happily accept it and they will see the results, because the agriculture is a tangible research. It's not unlike, theoretical research. One can see the effect immediately when the produce is in your hand. Now, from some issues I'm, summarizing from the farmer's point of view, are all farmers of the country are aware of this fact? So the awareness program has to be taken up. Like one, I congratulate CSE team. And I know that I have supplied this link to the school children as well. And some of the school, are airing this program. So the awareness program is important. And what are their perception on this? Waste chemical fertilizer. So the FOM needs to be tested in a large scale first in the multi-location trial at all research institutions or state agriculture universities land, and then make a model and then trying to convince the farmers for this. And whether the farmers have a ability in the appropriate rate or the cost of it as compared to the chemical fertilizers. And the application part of FOM is also very, very tedious. It's a labor extensive work as compared to the chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizer can be broadcasted. One bags can be broadcasted in just 1 hour, whereas the FOM needs, because it's in volume, it's in ton, 6 ton to 10 tons per hectare is to be applied, and it needs the labor for the applications. So research has to be done in application dose. We have already communicated to the authorities that our protocol, the protocol of application of FOM on the different crops. So time of application and impact assessment is also very important to show. Now this is our research. Now I'm going a little technical. That the microalga, because when we talk of the fermented organic manure, we are going for organic farming, then we need to have enrichment technology also from the organic material, rather than, phosphorus-rich organic manure for the phosphorus enrichment or many other, using chemical fertilizers. So we attempted the microalgal strain, harvested it, and mix it with the FOM so that the nitrogen content be increased. So that's the important experiment. In the second row, where I'm showing that these are our lab experiment set up to show the biogas potentiality, to how to determine the biogas potentiality of a particular biomass. Because when we talk of biomass, we have a rice straw, we have a wheat straw, we have a mustard, we have vegetable waste, we have a market waste, and so on. So we want to show the potentiality. We determine the biogas potentiality and in what ratio we have to take with the cattle dung and this, so that the maximum economic yield of biogas can be obtained from this. And this same experiment has been taken up to the pilot scale. And there in the first photograph, you see this is a fresh bioslurry what we get. And then this is the dry biogas slurry by using the dry leaves, the biomass which we have in IRI. And this has been used to enrich this. And we can, increase 2% of nitrogen by using these materials. Now, this is the small experiments to see whether the enrichment is possible and in what ratio and what amount and in what tons. The last slide, if you see that this is the FOM obtained from one of the plants in Punjab, Fajlika, and this is the enrichment we could achieve. And I'll show the results in the coming slides. And this is our field experiments. In the first two right side pictures, these are the micro plots where we have taken the maize crop. And it's a beautiful, we have a yield compared to our chemical fertilizer with the recommended dose of fertilizers. And on the left corner, again, an enrichment of one of the products obtained from the Verbio, the FOM which we have taken and enrich it. And this is the bottom two slides are showing the field experiments. So as a protocol, what we do is we conduct the lab experiment first and then take it, our result, best result of the lab is taken to the microplot and then to our field, our own field, and then to the farmer's field and multi-location trial. So that's the protocol what we follow for before we finally recommend to the farmers. Now, this is the lab experiments, how the enrichment of the microbial strain is taking place with the biomass. And in the bottom picture, when you see that one is the wet of FOM, which contains about 75% of the moisture. And in the center, you can see the final FOM product. And on the right-hand side, it's the semi-final. So final, if you see final, it's just like a sand. And that's very important, which I, during my visit to 7-8 plants of CBG in India, being principal investigator for this particular project, what I have observed is many of the industries are terminate in between. And when they terminate, because they are more of interested in the CBG, and I think that's their policy. So because CBG has a value and it is sold for without any waiting period. So while doing so, they terminate the moment they get the plateau of the gas, and then when the gas yield is getting down, so they terminate at that stage. So when they terminate, the FOM comes out of the plant is semi-mature. It contains volatile fatty acids. And when we apply this to the field, it will create acidic conditions in the field, and it will kill the good flora of the soil itself. So my recommendation to all CBG operator is that you continue your experiment, the production procedure of the prescribed period, not in between, for getting the good FOM. And that is one reason why farmers are afraid of using FOM, and the marketability is a question. Now, in this slide, I'm just showing the qualitative assessment of the enriched product, enriched bioslurry, the two sets I have taken. And if I compare, then the finished sample has moisture percentage of 68, which, comes under FCO. 70% is allowed in FCO. And the specific gravity, 1.2. The pH is 7.6, which is fairly good. We recommend for FOM somewhere between 6.5 to 7.5, slightly acidic to slightly basic. And neutral point will be the best one. But since it's a biological material and biological process, therefore, the hard and fast rule cannot be applied that we should have a neutral pH products. So that's the important point in this. Available nitrogen is fairly good, 10.1 as against 0.4 or 0.6%, which is present in the raw FOM. If it is enriched, the farmers will accept it. And the most important point here is the available nitrogen is in the available form of plant material. That is the nitrate nitrogen and ammonium nitrogen. So that's the beauty, because every plant, whether it is vegetables, pulses, oilseeds, or cereal, coarse, fine, whatever, they take only the two forms of nitrogen. One is nitrate nitrogen and other is ammonium nitrogen. And it contains the whole of the 2.1% is ammonium nitrate and nitrate. I have fragmented this also. And the potash is also good. Organic carbon is, of course, 27%, which is very good. And conductivity is also very important, and that is the 3.6%. Now, as a scientist, we are interested in the micronutrient as well, and the small nutrient contents as against the NPK. NPK, of course, is good, and the farmers only looks for the NPK. But we also get, from this product, zinc, iron, manganese, available calcium and magnesium, sulfur. And so this is, the other benefits which are, somehow not visible to any of the, applicator of the FOM. So that's also important. Otherwise, so it's a whole package. If NPK is less, but we are getting the other, elements also from FOM. So that's what I'm interested to say here. And of course, we have biological parameters almost nil, and the in both the cases, even in the semi-finished also, or in the finished product also. So we look for a biological product from 3 points of view: physical form, the chemical characteristics, and the biological, because that's the important again, because ultimately it is going to the farmland, and then it may come to the food chain. So that's the for human consumption. So we have to be very cautious. And this is the protocol what we have been suggested, that these are the methodology one has to adopt for the different parameters, and what are these simple values in it. Now, from this slide onward, I'm just showing you the our experience, field experience. Now, this is the Hisar region where they have taken the wheat crop, and this is the how they have used, because wheat is an aerobic crop. It has to be applied. FOM has to be applied before at least a week's time, so that the FOM completely mixed up, and laser leveling, and then we have a wheat. And what we have noticed by using this FOM, we could be able to save at least one irrigation out of the 5 irrigation which are required in the wheat crop. And this is the scenario of the Warbio, where the FOM is lying. And these are the farmers which have been using this FOM. And these are the products of the Surat. Mr. Vikas Mishra might be knowing different fields. And these all, pulses, the Hari Mirch and the Arbi, what we have got. So the point I want to make here is that not only the cereal crops, we have to apply the FOM, we can even take the vegetables, fruits, pulses, whatnot. Now, from the CBG project, what are the benefits from the rural point of view? Additional income to farmers. Why? I'll show you one model of Banaskantha, where the farmers supply their milk to the Amul and as well as their cattle. And they get price of it. And they get 1.4 rupees per kg of their cattle. So 1 rupee is the cost of the cattle dung, and 40 paisa is the transportation charges. And if farmers is bringing, will get 1.4. And if they ask the industry to arrange the pickup of their cattle dung, then they pay only 1 rupee per kg. So that's an additional income. So waste to wealth, hygiene and safe environment, because cattle dung is lifted there and then in one same day without, making opla or for kitchen, energy and all. So it's a nitrogen-rich fertilizer, both FOM and LFM, rural energy solutions, because the same biogas can be supplied to the farmers by laying down the, and in the 56 villages in Gujarat, in the Banaskantha region, so they have an arrangement of this. And rural employment, of course, it helps in the promulgating the natural and organic farming. And as we all know that the organic produce is much better than the inorganic produce from health point of view. And CBG for motor engine, for CBG run engines or electricity, mitigation of greenhouse gases and thereby global warming potentials. And we can earn carbon credits as well by using this. So this is the, the list of benefits from the CBG plant. Now, these are some of the machinery, some of the processes that the pre-treatments is required before we really feed into the CBG plant. And many of the CBG plants, or there is a complaint of the failure of the biogas plant is because of the straw size. And if straw size is more than, 15 centimeter, then it will, of course, gives you problem, because scum formation will take place and the plant will fail in one day or the other. So we have to look into the operationalized part as well. And this is the scenario how, they are collecting data. This is, I'm just showing one of the experiment on the paddy straw. Now, the last picture, which you can say the CRIPCO is taking the carbonic overwork compost from the Indore plant, which is made up of the municipal solid waste. Only thing which I told the plant operator there in the Indore, that we have to be very careful about the construction debris, because small, particles of the stone or the crushed stones are coming in the MSW. So MSW, when we talk of MSW for the FOM, we have to be very cautious for 2-3 important things. One is the pathogen, which should not be present in this, though the biogas technology is a exothermic in nature, and many of the pathogens do not survive at this temperature. This is the scenario or the plant introduction for the 6 plants. One is the Fazilika CBG plant, Punjab, Indore Bio-CNG, Banas CBG, Gujarat, Surat CBG, Gujarat, Laragaga, which I said, Barbio plant, and Namakal. Why I have shown this, all these 6 plants are using different substrates. In Banas CBG is only using the cattle dung. Indore, MSW. Fazilika, the rice straw with the cattle dung. And their application is that they are giving the gas, they are generating the electricity, and then the electricity is given to the grid. Surat CBG plant is based on the vegetable market waste along with the cattle dung. Laragaga again with the rice straw. And Navakal is taking the poultry dropping and Napier grass, and one or two more are the using the press mud or other kinds of materials. Now this is the just I was explaining that how farmers are collecting, weighing at their sites, loading it into it, and then the pre-mixing at the plant side, and this is the how they are managing, and then the biogas is stored in a balloon, enriching it in this and compressed, and then taken to the casket, and then finally. And the most interesting point here is that they have a CVG station, a fuel station right at the plant site. And so the transportation, storage, many, cost cutting is there. And the farmers, the same farmers from the villages where the milk and the cattle dung is collected, they get the gas right at their site. And this is the other uses of the liquid fermented FOM, and this is their product, Banas Govardhan. The prompt, the value addition is there, enriching the FOM. And this is the scenario of the Barbio plant. And thank you so much. I think, I hope I have maintained the time as prescribed by the organizer of the seminar. And this is some of my book. And one book is a biogas technology, which I wrote way back in 2011. And it took 12 years to reach to CBG. So I have been working on this and promulgating in all platforms that, and here also I'm using this opportunity that this technology is a tangible technology, it's a rural revolutionary technology, will manage our biomass, will manage our organic materials, and we get both the good products. If we really seriously interested in the organic and natural farm. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir, please. Thank you, Dr. Navindi. Thank you for such a nice and very eye-opening talk and presentation, because you touched upon various topics from scientific perspective, and we all got to know very a few things which are very new to us when it comes to FOM and its properties and characteristics. And really, so in the paucity of time, just one housekeeping thing, because we are receiving so many questions. But in the paucity of time, we would not be able to take all the questions. But just a housekeeping information I would like to give, that we'll share a note along with the presentations to all the participants of this webinar, and all the questions will be addressed. In that note as well, we'll include all those questions and answers to those questions, to the best of our abilities, because we are really running out of time. So I'll invite Mr. Vikash Misra Vikas Mishra to deliver his talk and his view on FOM. Welcome, Mr. Vikas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jayji. I'm just sharing my screen. Can everyone see my slides?
Yes.
So first of all, I would like to thanks to Dr. Nivenduji because he has given a good insight for biogas, FOM, and his good experience since long years. And at the same time, I would like to thanks to CSE directors, his team, Rahulji, Kafeji, because this CSE is bringing good awareness of all this which is necessary for making this bio-CNG plant really sustainable and really profitable. So let's start now. So I will just give a very shortly brief about us. So this company was founded in 2016 and we have been working on 4 different sectors. It was started as waste management company. Then it went to decentralized waste processing machineries, setting up the turnkey bio-CNG projects and preparing a sustainable agri products. And currently we are working in almost 16 cities. We are present in 16 cities with 210 plus teams to make all this happen. So definitely everything is recognized by government. So fortunately, Biofix has been working in the combination of science and technology. For that, we have been recognized by our Dr. Vice President Sri Jagdeep Dhakkarji before 2 months only. And there is many more. So that makes our team more motivated to work all this thing. As this bio-CNG and FOM, it needs combination of science and technology. So Biofix has always have a good support backed by strong R&D facility, because if that science is not correct, the output will not be in the appropriate conditions. So we have this whole facility in our premises. These are some esteemed clients. Now coming to main components, what today we are going to target here. So in the first part, we'll see what is actually fermented organic manure, how it is produced, what government support is currently available, why really it is important to focus on FOM. That was the real question that Rahulji, Jayji, Kafeji, everybody has focused. Why it was really important to focus on FOM? What's the difference between FOM and biofertilizers? What are the opportunities? And how Biofix has really made this happen and bring everything reality on the ground with all due respect of 8 years of experience in this field. Now guys, what is really the fermented organic manure? So that is a biogas digest, and it is enriched with all the micro and macronutrients, no doubt. Something is major, something is small, it's no doubt. But it is a good bioslurry with nutrient rich, balanced nutrient ratios, definitely high carbon content, and it has that property that can activate the microbial activity in the soil. Now the thing is that, just imagine if you are having 60 ton of your plant and daily you are feeding 60 ton of raw material in the digester. So until unless nothing is coming out, everybody likes that. Oh wow, we are getting CNG. And I really appreciate, because I'm also one of the manufacturer for whole turnkey projects to bring this CNG happens. But at the same time, as soon as slurry comes out, now people panics. Now what will happen? Because the 60 ton will occupy some spaces. Every day, if you are counting minimum side, at least you will be getting 12 to 15 ton of this organic manure, 27 to 30 ton of digester slurry. So just imagine if you are having 4 acre of land and every day you're putting 60 ton, you are getting 2.5 ton of CNG. Then there is 45 ton of this slurry also. Now the question is what we have to do. And if you don't know how to handle that part, that means this whole plant can be stopped within 3 months only, because we don't have enough space just to collect it. And on another side, if we think that we are taking the waste, we are processing, and if we are not taking that fertilizer to the real application, that means we are generating another level of heap of this fertilizer. So I will give just a brief our what is happening. So for example, currently in current scenario, the biogas can generate the revenue of this CBG cells with almost 5 to 6 crores. That is okay. But the model that we have been working since almost 6 to 7 years with our science and technology and marketing, it is having a good potential to generate 10 to 15 crores. This is the number that we are getting currently with our 2 to 3 clients that we have been experimented actually. Now what government is supporting? So definitely government has realized that Satat is a very good scheme to counteract the energy demand. But in order to run that bio-CNG plant, if we don't have the support, what to do and how to market that FOM, that whole plant will shut down. That is the real reality. And the good part is that government has realized and they launched this PM Pranam Yojana, under which they are paying 1,500 per ton to support this marketing of this organic manure. Now, we have been working in this from, as I said, the science is very important. So many times we use this fermented organic manure, but sometimes it gives results, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there should be something that why the result is not coming. Already Dr. Devenduji has mentioned that farmer will accept if they are getting results. Now, results means they should get good yield, their cost must be less. Otherwise, there is no point that they will purchase your product. And in this field, agri field, the result is very important to create the repeatability. Because if you are selling one person once, it doesn't make sense in agriculture. You have to sell every time. For that, you need to prepare a quality products that can generate the results. Now, before generating the results, there is some issues that we have been faced in FOM. As Dr. Divendu also mentioned that once the slurry is coming out, it is carrying volatile acids, pathogens, and heavy metals also. So it needs to be processed in the first step to ensure that FOM is pathogen free. Now, what can be the pathogen? This is little scientific, so it can be Salmonella, E. coli, coliform, Shigella, and just on the left side, if you see, in villages also I have seen many times they used to just collect the hips of this cow manure and then they use it. Actually, this is a wrong practice. Because whenever we have collected almost 100 plus samples at different locations for FOM and such hips also, pathogens level is very high. So that is the first challenge. Second, if that hip is really not processed, it can concentrate on heavy metals. Unprocessed manure contains the heavy metals that can be actually absorbed by the crops, and even it is accumulated in plants that we used to eat. So again, it have to be noticed, and it have to find a solution for that. And there is solution. The problem challenge was people are not understanding what the real process is to process this, to outcome these challenges. Now we have seen the challenge. What is stopping really to make this FOM to be placed in the market? If we are selling directly just FOM also as a raw, still there is challenge. Now let's see why this bio-CNG and FOM is important. Why government is pushing, why CSE is taking a lot of efforts to bring awareness, why Dr. Devendu is taking his time to do research, why Biofix has put almost 7 to 8 years of his work, time, money, and everything. So the purpose is that if you see data in financial year 22 only, import bill has almost doubled. The government subsidy has increased by 40%. So energy sector and agri sector, that means our expenses has already every years it is increasing. Now this whole meeting is for this FOM. So I'm just highlighting this, how much government is putting money on this subsidy. So you can see 2,000 to almost 2,000 rupees on urea per bag, 2,500 on DAP, 1,900 almost on NPK, 759. So this is huge big numbers that government is paying subsidy to ensure that the crop that we are eating, it keeps generating. But how long it, because these numbers are already increasing. Already we are giving every year, the subsidy part is increasing, energy bill is increasing. That means something is going wrong. Hopefully I'm agreeing, everybody is agreeing that if the expenses is increasing, that means someone have to figure out that something is going definitely wrong in this sector. So it really needs to address. Now that was the challenge. government is facing challenge, the people who are generating FOM is challenge. Now, what is the opportunity? Definitely, bio-CNG is a technology that can generate bio-CNG in terms of energy, and at the same time fertilizer. That is really needs to be focused. Otherwise, we can't generate a bio-CNG also. If we don't take the fertilizer to a real place in agriculture, how we are going to put new raw material as a feed, and how we are going to generate CNG. So bio-CNG and fertilizer is both combination that can lead this in a sustainable manner to run these bio-CNG plants. So for example, if I focus only in bio-CNG, if our Prime Minister Modi ji that has launched this Satat Yojana, under which we have to set up 5,000 plants, that can really generate almost 15 million tons of CBG by 2023. But why the setting of this number of plants is low? There is three things. First, people haven't understood that we need the raw materials. Correct raw materials is very needed. Second, technology. Third, what is the solution of FOM? These three challenges that we have realized 4 years back only, because we are the person who has been working on the ground level. We do work in lab, we do work on pilot scale, but we do work on large scale also. So we realized that 4 years back only, this bio-CNG and Satat model needs support for FOM, for good technology, and that CBG sale also. Then only this whole investment can be profitable. Now coming back to FOM, as I said already, 15 million tons of CBG can be produced with this plant. At the same time, if I focus on FOM, almost we can save the existing plant that is running. Just by using 15 plants, 15 plants, we can save 2.25 lakh crores of the subsidy of the government. So that was the opportunity. Now let's see how bio slurry enrichment can be really happening, and
Sorry, Vikas, you're breaking.
of revenue for our clients, our CBG partners. As soon as the bioslurry is coming out, there is a treatment we are giving as aerobic treatment. After aerobic treatment, only the separation is taken care. Solid and liquid is separated out. Now the liquid, as I said already, so there is a pathogen that needs to be carried out. There is a heavy metals that needed to be taken care. So for that, there is one system that is actually coming from technology of this pharmaceutical background, because I have a good background from pharmaceuticals, technologies, how formulations and everything. So this is a continuous short part sterilization system that we have developed in our own house to ensure there is no pathogens. First part that. Second part, the nutrition addition. Now the enrichment process starts. The nutrition addition starts on the basis of the reports that we generate. What is the current data that the FOM is carrying? For example, what is the nitrogen percent, what is EC level, what is the pH? All the parameters of the first is tested, and accordingly nutrition addition is done. Now we have developed one technology. Now this tri-biomic focus to enrich the solid and liquid fertilizer to ensure that if farmer puts in the farm, results must be generated, and our CBG partners must get the repeat orders. For
Sorry to disturb you, Vikas. Your screen is not visible. I think you have unshared.
Just is it okay now?
Yes, now it's fine.
So how much I missed? Did I cover this?
You were on the enrichment part.
Okay.
Yes. So your nutrient addition was done. From here onwards, you can talk.
Okay. So this technology now combines three major things. Now, once the pathogens is killed by using this technology, now the addition part start. Now This addition is not something like that. You take it and just mix it and that is done. No, it's not like that. Even if you break the process to add it, then it's problem. Again, if you see, there is, I have added herbal extracts. Now we have almost figured out 310 plus ways that doesn't work to success this formulation actually. Because as soon as I combine these herbal extracts, and I will give the reasons why these are necessary also. As soon as we combine this herbal extract, the enzyme quantity goes down, results effects. So we almost, our scientists as well almost find out that 310 different ways was not succeeded to get the such products that can really bring the output for the farmers and generate good revenues. Now this is a granulation process. Again, I have not shown the real picture because of some of the reasons. So what do? This solid fertilizer. So this we convert into granules. Now the purpose of again creating granules, because it has to be there multi-layer formulation that we have generated in the granulation part that is coated inside. Again, 3 levels of nutrition addition in that. So for example, if your organic manure is ready, so it has to be crushed, it have to be screened, mixing is done where 2 level of nutrition addition is done with what the process is defined. Again, there is a pallet machine. This is a granulator machine where again 1 layer of again a third nutrition is added. Then it is dried and packed. This was for slurry part. So with this technology, we have almost developed almost 20 different formulations, and this is a few products that is based on these formulations actually. And that is already marketed, that is already have generating good revenues for our clients and for us also. Now, the thing is that when I compared, already Dr. Devendruji has talked, so but still I'm showing that when we have to compare the FOM with the premium biofertilizer that we have just to make sure that what differentiator, that's why we have named this premium biofertilizer. The thing is that if you see, even FOM is defined as the minimum there should be carbon content 14%. But the process and technology and science ensures that the slurry part that we are getting and the final product, we have almost 41% carbon content. That is much higher as compared to any. This is possible by working from raw material, process, technology, and enzymes actually. Again, NPK ratio that government has defined in this is almost 1.2, but if you see in our report also, we are getting almost 9.72%, which is multiple times higher. Now, the third, already I said, the essential microorganism that needs to be added, the count has been already given to 10:7, which is a very, very good number. Now, even we are getting all this thing, it was supposed to have a good formulation with this herbal extract, with this biostimulants, with this microorganisms, and this FOM. So this formulation was named as that is already called a tri-biomac, and this formulation is giving good results that we will see further. Now let's focus on business actually. I mean, anybody is putting their crores of money, government is giving good subsidy. So we have to think of as an entrepreneur how to generate revenues, because revenue is not generated. That means crores of rupees will be dumped again. Now as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, if we have to sell anything, we have to understand what is the demand. Why we came up with this in technology? Because we know that what is the currently in demand in agriculture, what they are looking for. So at many places there is a lack of even fertilizer also. Even they are not getting, even in my village also, people are not getting this chemical fertilizer also because of low availability. Definitely government is paying high subsidy. There is a definitely need of to increase the carbon content in the soil. Definitely need in the increase the microbial organisms in the soil. There is a high level stress because of multiple reasons that we will cover in the next slide that has increased in the crops. That's why people is putting a lot of chemical fertilizer but is still not getting the results. Stress has increased. Soil structure definitely needs to increase. Water, I mean, this water is not subsidized, but honestly saying, water is the first subsidy that government is giving actually. Nobody has thought of that. But if I talk to my grandfather, when he started farming 40, 50 years before, He was giving this his farm of wheat almost 3 times only. They used to just give the water, but now if I go and meet him, they are giving almost 6 times. I mean, something is going wrong. But and in villages, government is giving this electricity very subsidized rate. So the first subsidy government is giving to farmers is electricity. That's why the water that we are giving to soil is also needs to be addressed actually. That is gonna be a real challenge in the upcoming in agri sector. Next point was that we have to ensure that the formulation the product in such a way that all the nutrients can be provided easily and controlled manner to the crops actually. Last and very important that everybody needs their ensure that yield must be improved. The quality is the second matter because farmers is putting their hard earned money and sometimes they even go for loss also. So we can't make such products that we can just claim okay just buy but you are not going to get results. So output is very important. Now we have understand this is the demand in agri sector current scenario. Now what we did, we have converted this demand with supply by using our this technology of try biomech in FOM. The first benefit is definitely FOM is available in abundant because number of plants are increasing. Definitely it is of low cost, that is second benefit. Third, as our formulation is already generating the high 40% of carbon content, that is the second part. Microorganisms, all microorganisms which is called that as biofertilizers have to be enriched in that good lifetime, that is important. Now in order to counteract the stress that is generated for multiple ways, it is counteract, it is protected by using the herbal extracts that we have put in the formulation. Definitely by using all these three things, we figure out that after 2 years, the water that was given to the farm has reduced actually. That will be the biggest challenge. Second last point was that multi-stage fermentation that is happening in digester with good enzymes and all the things. It is ensuring that all the nutrients can be easily available for the plants. With our all the trials efforts, I can show you hundreds of reviews, hundreds of things for our this thing, and most of the time it is shown that the yield has increased by 30-40%, and you will get the reasons why and how. Now I have talked a lot about this try biomech, but let's focus on this part also. After a lot of survey research, we have spent almost 4 years in this agri sector to market the products, to understand the farmers. 65% yield has been lost because of drought, temperature variance, salinity. 11% of the yield is lost because of a disease that is caused in the soil. 24% yield lost because of lack of nutrients, water, climates, weeds. Now there is I have one experience I met in Uttar Pradesh actually, and he was using chemical fertilizer of almost 50 kg per acre in one of his crop. He increased next year almost 75, but his yield was still not increased. Again, he went to even 100 kg per acre, but still his yield was not increasing, even it was decreasing. That means the current practice that is happening in most of the farming sector, something is wrong and nobody is bringing the awareness what is exactly wrong. Everybody is just pushing to sell their fertilizers and everything, but the challenges are there that really needs to. That's why we have done this, what is the current demand and how we are gonna. So stress needs to be first thing to be addressed. Now I have talked a lot about this challenges, problems, how we have faced. Now let's see what is that really trio biomass that has been developed with our hard work of our scientists. Now it's a combination of three things. First, definitely the multi-stage fermented that FOM whole formulation is based on FOM only because we have been working in this bio-CNG technology for almost 6 to 7 years. And Biofix model is not to set up number of plants. It's all about how much profitable we can make that plant. That is our first aim. So this tri-biometric technology contains this FOM, that is the first thing, with high carbon content that is needed in our formulation. Second, the nutrient addition of biostimulants enzymes based on what the FOM is generating. Third, the herbal extracts. So when this formulation was getting developed, actually, we have failed multiple times, because bringing herbal extracts with enzymes, it is not that they are loving partners. Actually, many times it failed. So we have identified the only herbal extract that can work in this. What are the best enzymes that can work in this? And if you see this, this formulation works and tested for all types of crops. All types of this can be integrated as a completely organic farming, can be used as integrated farming to boost their quality and yield. Our major focus is to bring the results and output with this technology for FOM. Now, what's the real difference of this premium fertilizer or this what we have made and with the compost? Actually, definitely compost is a nutrient rich soil embedment that is definitely good for entire soil. It helps in retention in moisture. It promotes optimum growth. That is good part for the compost. Now, that is having some cons also, because until unless we don't know the cons, we can't prepare a good product. So the thing was that if I give farmer the compost, if I give the farmer to FOM, it takes times to generate results. So it have to be enriched. That is first thing, we are all clear. Many times if this compost is not processed well, it creates the soil borne disease and again we lost the yield. Composting is time consuming, definitely requires more physical work, and we have to put at least 1, 2, 3 tons of compost in the farms to ensure that we get some results. That is the reason farmers always run away from compost or FOM. Very rare farmer is practicing this actually with compost or something. Now, with all this learning and everything, what we results in the real scenario we are getting for or this premium fertilizer. First part, the visible results that our farmers or clients, everybody is showing in 14 days only. They can see the difference that my plant was dying, it has regained, my output has increased, the size has increased, everything in natural way. It is working as a growth booster. Again, because of this herbal content that is inside this formulation, it is that can work for different types of crops. We have not left all rabi crops, all kharif crops, everything is covered. From this premium fertilizer, after experimenting in real field for 2 to 3 years, we have ensured that the yield increase so that the farmers can purchase as a pull mechanism. We don't want to push our product, we want to generate the pull. So our first target was to ensure that the results and output is generated. Even our farmers have reported that even just by using the first trial only, they have ensured that they don't need to put almost 50% of the chemical fertilizer also, even just by first usage only. That is a good. And many of the farmers start the same thing, they don't directly jump on 100%, but once they start seeing results, once they ensure that the yield is good, then they started shifting. So even many farmers has used this as a organic growth booster, then they slowly shift to completely in this with this all premium fertilizer. The good part is that we never leave any farmer whose results is there is a problem, and we never leave a single farmer who is facing any challenges with our products also. So we ensure that 98% of the farmers and clients are satisfied with everything. Now there is one understanding, I have just shown these images. Now the urea and DAP that we are putting, almost just 35 to 40% is utilized by the crops. Rest 60-70% is just kept in the soil, going as a leachate in the water. That is again a big challenge. So you are saying that the only needed part was 35 to 40%, but we are giving this excess, and many more is in the soil only. That is making the soil hard also. So I am hoping that I have just created a difference between the premium fertilizer and the compost. Now this definitely, or this is a one silver bullet that we have seen. This is the product is named as Advanced Zyme, that they are using in a bucket of 20 liter, 25 liters their farming is taking. At the same time, there is other products that many times needed. For example, to ensure that for doing seed treatment, products are developed. to ensure that the roots are good. That is again to protect the from disease. Again, we have that products. So this is something that all the problems can be given as a solution by this our Biofix team in one flag only. This is a packet that we designed for our farmers. So this is one of the packages for all our products that is needed. For example, wheat. So what they are needing. So for seed treatment, we are giving 2 products. We are giving advanced zyme and the doses when to give. There is one product that is root care that works, and herbal root that is works more on the root part and ensures there is no disease. Again, there is in order to ensure that the phosphorus and potassium contained ensures that in order to give that we are giving this in granules form. If there is any disease from the environmental sector, we are having another herbal based product. So this whole range ensures that once the farmer comes to us, he has all the solution in one umbrella. Same thing we have done design for tomato, and all this thing happening with multiple trials and hard works actually. This is a banana. So we have designed for almost all crops. Because of lack of time, I'm not showing everything. This is the some of the results. I can show you hundreds of results, but because of the time and because of the limit of the number of slides, I have shown very less. So this, if you can see
Sorry to pitch in, Vikas. It will be great if you could sum up your slides in just 5 minutes because we
yes,
are
it's
short of time.
almost 1 hour. So
Yes,
if you can
yes.
see the results,
Thanks.
definitely we have mattered a lot. And if you see, we don't push anyone to just go directly jump for the large. They used to try in small, then they jump. It's fine. These are the another good differences that we have done. Definitely in all the crops we have seen the results. Now this is the very important part actually. For this, what just hold a minute. Okay, so I'm just so sorry. How we are generating the sales, that is very important part and very important for all the audience that needs to be see. So there is almost 4 sectors we have been working to generate the revenue from this premium fertilizer that is based on FOM. First is online sales via our website, digital marketing, online ads, and with this we have almost reached 8 lakh plus clients. That is the best part of this digital India actually. Second market is for nurseries. We have developed multiple products for nurseries because it is generating almost good revenues. And sorry, the online sales is almost generating 60 times of revenue. So if you say if you want to sell the FOM with 5 rupees, currently I'm selling with 300 rupees, but that is giving the results. At the same time, if I go to nurseries, again, we have almost reached almost 30 plus nurseries via just online only, and we are generating almost 16 plus times of revenue with this. We used to target direct sales to farmers, but the target audience is very limited. That those farmers who's having at least 20 acres, we used to target them. We used to do trials. We ensure that the results is out, then only we start selling that to farmers. And like this, more than 20 acres, we are already having 450 farmers as a trial base, and the revenue that is generated also 11 times as compared to before. Again, we have sales distribution channels. We are having already selling to this 22 plus distributorship, and the revenue generation almost 8 times. With these models, we are ensuring that the output and the revenue is generated and bio-CNG plant can be successful. Definitely, this is our team that our own this enrichment facility that is here I have shown. This is our team. We have all labs and works people, sales team. So guys, thank you so much, and I will love to have any questions and answer it. And thank you so much.
Nice presentation and talk. I understand, you have been working a lot and it's not really easy to sum it up in 40-45 minutes.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
needs,
it's 8 years of
needs
experience.
more time. Yes, it needs more time. And we all understand that, but yes, we also have to realize the paucity of time here. And, to be, to make our time more valuable to the audience also. So I'd, kind of, request somebody from the audience to have, to raise a question or something to open the floor for questioning. But before that, just one thing I wanted to make a remark on, or rather a submission. All said and done, Dr. Navindo also presented a very good scientific, study-based results of FOM, and everything is good about, FOM. All green. There is no red or orange even. All green. Everything is green. But the challenge is scaling up. The challenge is getting the market, penetrating the market. Because somebody from the audience asked this question. What percentage of FOM caters to the total fertilizer need as compared to the chemical fertilizers in India? So that is incomparable as of now. I think even not a fraction of chemical fertilizers that is going into every inch of land in India. We cannot compare FOM penetration for now. So that is where the challenge is. And so many questions, the audience is asking about MDA. This is basically from the manufacturing side. MDA, as to how, this MDA can be availed, can reach the producers, where it matters most. My submission, third one is rather a submission than a question. You can, answer the questions one by one, and we can take few more questions from the audience. My question is, my submission is, to get the scale or basically or to streamline the manufacturing itself per se on the upstream side. We have to follow certain industry model like sugar, integrated sugar industry model, which the byproducts are the sugar and the ethanol. Why can't CBG industry follow the same suit, with main products as bio-CNG, CBG, biogas, and the manure. So this is my submission, and open, over to you to answer the question that we have received. Atin, please, your 2 cents as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jay. So let's start taking questions. I mean, we are short of time, so let's see how many can we take. So let's start with the Q&A box. This question has come from Mr. Sukhmit Singh. What is the current scale of commercialization of CBG FOM byproduct in the Indian market as compared to traditional fertilizer, and through what channels it is being sold? So anyone from the panelists may take the question.
So I will answer this thing. So as I already shown that what are the channels that it can be marketed. At the same time, even I have talked, and I will definitely say that depending on different types of crops, we have designed what products and how much quantity needs to be given actually. So definitely the time was shorter, but already I have covered all these things in a very some fast way actually.
Okay, thank you so much, Vikas. The next question is from Noble Varghese. So Noble is one of our colleagues in CSE. How much better is FOM than chemical fertilizer in enriching the soil for crop growth? Have there been any studies done in Indian soil conditions comparing the enrichment of both or even hybrid FOM plus fertilizer scenarios? So anyone from the panelists again can take the question.
Should I answer?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
At this moment in the current scenario, the hybrid application of the both is good. And we are propagating that 6 to 8 ton of FOM, dry FOM, can be applied per hectare in any of the crops before, of course, cultivation. Pure FOM application and no fertilizer use, our treatments have shown the production is reduced by 50%. So at this time, we are not saying that you should only depend on the FOM and ignore the chemical fertilizers. So that's not advisable at this moment.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Mr. BJ Prasad. What are the chemical differences between normal organic manure and FOM? I think we have already answered this question through the presentation, so I can skip that. So there's one more question from Noble. So I'm skipping Noble for now because we have already taken one question. Again, there's a question from Mr. BJ Prasad. Why the Palari burning by Punjab and Haryana states in October to November months have not been replaced by CBG? I say our CSE can play a role in this respect. Any quick remark from maybe Rahul or Kaifi?
This is if you look from the farmer's point of view, that's important because they need the clean field for sowing the wheat. Right. And the duration between the rice and wheat is very less. Right. And we have the positive effects also of burning. It's not that all is gray and gray only. But if we see from the environmental point of view and air pollution, of course, it's very harmful, and loss of nutrient is also there due to the burning of the residue. And what ICR is doing, ICR and the government can do. Government has announced MDA of 1,500, and even residue management. The Punjab government is supporting 1,000 rupees per acre, is giving the subsidy not to bar. So this is a mixed question. So cannot be answered. We are not competent to answer at this stage.
Right, because there's another side of this aspect, sir. So like the municipal solid waste, basically, which is collected by either the city themselves or a third party concessionaire, and the waste is practically brought to the CBG plant, and the CBG plant operator almost gets it for kind of free. I mean, the CBG plants, I haven't heard about any plant where the CBG plant operator is having to pay for the transportation and collection. But that is probably not the case for agri residue, like the paddy residue, the issue that we are discussing here. Of course, it's a problem. But even for the plant operator in the rural side who are expecting to use the agri residue as the primary feedstock for gas production, so intercepting that agri residue and incentivizing the farmer is probably a challenge which we haven't been able to address so far. So that is another side of definitely the offshoot of stubble burning definitely contributes massively to air pollution. And there are myths that, and there are some facts as well that specifically the Delhi NCR region during the winter, they are very worst affected because of the stubble burning issues. So the next question is from
I would also like to add here. Now the reduced incidents are reported of burning. So that is also there. So awareness catching up. Yeah.
Right, sir. So next question is from Shashi Tripathi. Hi, thank you. My concern is while using the animal manure as feedstock in AD, is there any chance of spreading the BSE prions, mad cow disease, and brucellosis, and some pathogens like BSE cannot be destroyed by AD? So any quick thought, any quick response?
Can I answer this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so we have worked this slaughterhouse on non-veg waste a lot of times actually. We have been working with paddy and everything, but slaughterhouse, there was two challenges actually. The first challenge was that whenever we are putting in a digester, the content of the H2S is increased a very high level. That needs so whole plant needs to be designed in such a way that it can counter. Now addressing in the form of this fertilizer, actually this is a very good part from fertilizer point of view, but there is a certain quantity that we have defined for the whole setup. We just directly don't put the only non-veg in slaughterhouse and ensure that we are getting good results. So it is a combo that we have to combine, then only we can get the good results in terms of this gas and fertilizer.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vikas. The next question comes from Mr. Bhaskar Fanindra. So asking a question regarding, can you explain the economics of biofertilizer against chemical fertilizer and its impact? I think Vikas has covered it pretty well. So we can skip it for now. So we have already taken a question from Mr. Prasad. So I'm skipping the next one for just want of time. The next question is from Vaibhav Maheshwari. Vaibhav is asking, do we have any technical facts of press mud in similar to cow dung presented by Mr. Gupta? So Navendu sir, if you could just...
I'm really sorry. I was busy in one of the phone calls received from the headquarters. Can you repeat this question?
Yes.
Again? Yeah.
The question is that, do we have any technical facts of press mud in similar to cow dung presented by Mr. Gupta? So basically it's talking about whether pressed mud is having more potentials compared to the cow dung as a feedstock to produce CBG.
Right. The pressed mud is, of course, a good product, is for a high yield of biogas compared to the cattle dung. But the priming of the biogas plant is always done by the biogas, by the cattle dung, because it's a rumen animal and it contains all the microorganisms which are present in their stomach, which comes through the cattle dung. and priming is done for at least 10-15 days so that the inner population of microorganism take place, and then any of the organic substances can be used in this. And press mud is a good one. Is a good one.
Just to add to that, then about 50 tons of kettle dung is produces about 1 ton of bio-CNG, whereas 25 tons of press mud is utilized to produce 1 ton of bio-CNG. So it is twice as good as kettle dung, you could say.
Right. Okay, there's one more quick question from Vaibhav. Has there been any field level experiment of FOM and LFOM for sugarcane crop? Navendu sir?
Yeah, experiments are going on. Sugarcane is a 1-year crop, and it would be always better if we use the LFOM, because in sugarcane it's not a aerobic crop. And since it is 1-year crop, even in the standing crop, we can do that, but no aerial spray of any LFOM or solid FOM. It's a good one. Yeah, experiments are still going on, and we are getting the good results.
Okay.
Can I add something on this? I think this is a very important question, actually.
Yeah, sure.
So the thing is that we have already tried multiple times of this for sugarcane, but the sugarcane is something in Maharashtra that has been dealing in huge quantity. So people has tried our product as integrated, actually, just by using 30-40% of hours, and that's what they practice, and they are getting actually good results. And as our strategies, we never push to someone to directly shift on this FOM or base product, actually, but it is definitely showing good results.
Yeah. Thank you, Vikas.
I think I also have wanted to add something.
Yeah, please.
Because I have seen that evidence when I have visited the Karad municipality, where they have actually using the small biogas system, and they are using the municipal solid waste in this. So there are a lot of farmers actually basically at the time of sugarcane cropping, they were very interested to get that digested. And they were paying something around 20 rupees, like raw digested is being taken out by like 20 rupees from the this biogas facility, and they were very happy to actually, because this was actually increasing the yield of 20% of their cultivation. So that I wanted to share, because I have seen that evidence. In fact, I have interacted with the farmer as well at the time.
Thank you so much, Kaifi. There's a question from Mr. Rajesh Kumar. What is the per ton cost of enrichment of FOM? I think because you have already answered this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there is one more question. The name is not here. What is the cost incurred for enrichment, and what is the market value of FOM to be considered in life cycle cost analysis of bio-CNG projects?
So already there is I already just shown in terms of number how much times of revenue you can generate in different sectors. But I haven't not shown that what is the input amount. So for example, if you are selling anything of 40 rupees, so you are spending almost 3 to 4 rupees of enrichment, actually. This is a rough idea.
Yeah. All right. Okay. It's already 3 minutes past 1 p.m. and we have run out of time by almost 25 minutes. So I'll definitely request Dr. Rahul Jain and Kaifi to explore how we can answer the rest of the question, because we have the coordinates, the email IDs and phone numbers of all the participants who registered for this event. So I'll just stop here, because we just don't want to overshot the time by any further duration. But before we close, I'll request Jay to kind of do a vote of thanks, and then we can just close the event for today.
Thank you so much, Atin. Thank you. Before I kind of close it, and I know there is just a very small question coming in from Nigerian, the participant from Nigeria, and she wants to understand whether this FOM is applicable in Nigeria as well, and the tropic soils, the conditions in Nigeria. So just yes or no answer.
Yes, definitely. Why not? And Dr. Gupta can add more. Definitely, it's why not? There is no reason to say no, actually.
So yeah,
tropical. Sorry.
Yeah, no, please go ahead.
Yeah, tropical soil is rather better, because it is already low in carbon, and as this is the only product which is very high in carbon content. So Nigeria will be a good country to apply the FOM.
So Ms. Madaki, I hope you got the answer to your question, and it is helpful. Hope it is helpful for you. So anyways, yeah, it turned out to be a really good webinar, and very and we all, as we want to enrich the FOM, we got enriched in our knowledge and everything, with our from our eminent speakers, those who have elaborately, spoke on various aspects of FOM. But yes, there are certain, not certain, I would say, but there are many challenges to overcome before it sees the light of the day. Because for now, the FOM is working here and there in bits and pieces, but we really have to make it the product of the mass, product of the farmers, basically. Earlier it was there, but ever since chemical fertilizer came into picture, things got kind of lost in time, so somewhere. But it has to come back to the practice now, and for that, ICR like organization can do really a wonderful job and can play a vital role actually in. I know they have tremendous potential. I think ICR has so many affiliated institutions and it has pan-India presence, wherein they can do all these sorts of experimentation with multiple feedstock, multiple agri residues, biogas production from those residues, and study the FOM from those multiple feedstocks, and categorize, classify all those FOMs, as to where can be, what would be suitable and for what kind of land and what kind of crop. So all these, scientific studies can be done, and ICR can play a very good role in that because it has a pan-India presence. So Navendu sir, I would request you to at least consider this request so that we can at least start talking about scaling up and marketability of this FOM, because for now, apart from few efforts from Biofix like organizations, there is not much happening when it comes to actually marketing this product, labeling this product, although there were standards, but again, those will have to come later. So yeah, these are the challenges, and thank you so much. And audience, really, you have been really patient. I see a lot of enthusiasm, in terms of questions and also in terms of presence. From 120, I think almost for an hour or so, there were 120 odd participants, present throughout. So it says, it reflects the kind of interest that is there, in the community, be it the manufacturer community or the user community or anybody in that entire supply chain or in that entire value chain. So with this, I would like to thank everyone for your precious time, and I hope it has been really helpful for everyone. And we have kind of deliberated and elaborated on so many things. And we'll share the note, the proceedings of the event with the questions that have been asked and answers. We'll try and find answers to the best of our abilities and include in the note for your future reference. So thank you once again. Thank you so much, Kafi, Rahul, Atin, Navendu ji, Vikas, and all the participants. Thank you so much from CSE.
I also place on record my sincere gratitude and thank you to the organizer and the participant, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Should we leave the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Yes.